stupid of me. As there's a cop pulling somebody over, I decide it's time to redline the Tuono. What is up, guys? DukeOfDC here. Welcome to another video. How's it going, everybody? How is it going? Today is a great day. You know what today is? Today is just about the 1-year anniversary of me buying Thundercat. My 2015 Aprilia Tuono V4R. It's the 1000cc model. It's right before they started selling the 1100 RR and RF, and it is, without question, a beast. It has earned the name Thundercat, and today I wanted to talk about the 5 things that I love and the 5 things that I hate about this motorcycle. I think it's pretty appropriate to talk about after a year of ownership. This bike has 7,540 miles on it. I have owned it for exactly a year, if you know, give or take like 3 days, I think. But anyway, let's get into the list. Let's talk about the 5 things that I absolutely love about this bike. First and foremost, a pretty obvious one has got to be the sound. The sound that this V4 makes is absolutely intoxicating. Now, yes, it does help that I have basically straight pipes on it in the form of the GPR Thunder Slash exhaust, but even before that, any twist of the wrist just gives you that deep down V4 sound. It is so good. With the stock exhaust, it was very good. With the GPR, it is mind-blowing. You guys have seen a huge difference in the videos. People on the streets can hear me coming from miles away. I absolutely love the sound of this bike. Number 2 has got to be the value. Now, value is a little bit of a strange thing to talk about when you're creating a video of the top 5 things that you love about a bike, especially after 1 year of ownership, because value really comes into play before you buy a bike or during your purchasing process. But after that, you tend to forget about it. Well, the value on this bike has stuck with me for a full year. The Aprilia Tuono, in my opinion, is one of the more underrated super naked bikes. Its competitor directly, in my opinion, is the BMW S1000 Single R. Now, of course, it has other competitors in the form of the Kawasaki, the Z1000 or Z800, the FZ09, which is now going to be the MT10 or FZ10, and a whole slew of other bikes. The Super Duke 1290R, there are the Ducati Monster 1200R that I just took out, a ton of bikes. But the Tuono is so underrated. The Tuono, in my opinion, is just the best bang for your buck motorcycle that you can buy out there today. One of, for sure. Here's what I think, right? Because one, it's an Italian motorcycle. It is a very, very high class, next level branded Italian machine. And if you look at other Italian bikes, cough cough Ducati, you're looking at a premium that sometimes makes no sense. I just took out the Ducati 1200R, and yeah, it's a fantastic bike, but is it worth $5,000 more than this? No, absolutely. In fact, there were things missing from that 1200R that this $5,000 less version has on it, which is a fantastic segue to number 3. Number 3 thing I love about this bike is the quick starter. And that's why. Do you see how convenient that was? There's no bad to having a quick starter. It is a incredibly, except for the fact that you're probably going to get a ticket someday because you're using it and having some fun. But there is just nothing bad about having a quick starter on your bike. If you want to use it, you use it. I'm in 4th gear, 53 miles per hour up, and it was super smooth. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to use it. It's a very incredible thing. See how easy that was? All made in... Oh, the fuel light is on? Alright, well that's going to take me to the 5 things I hate about this bike. We will get to you, fuel light. But as I was rudely interrupted by my horrible fuel efficiency, what I was trying to say is that the quick shifter is incredible. It really is. And to have it on a bike that has such a great value in terms of how much this cost, I don't think I've ever told you guys what I paid for this bike. I paid $12,500 US for this Aprilia Tuono. It was a 2015, it had 0 miles on it, and in my opinion, that is a fantastic deal for what I got. The new RR is about $14,500 and the new RF is about $16,500, I believe. And those prices are warranted too, but $12,500 for this was just next level value. Especially considering if I wanted the BMW S1000 single R, I was gonna have to pay much more than that. Maybe like $2,500 or $3,000 more, depending on dealership fees and certain taxation. I felt like I was stealing this Tuono because let's talk about the components, right? We have Sachs front and rear fully adjustable suspension. We have Brembo's front and rear. We have the full APRC electronics package, which leads me to the fourth thing that I love about this bike. The APRC electronics package on this is absolutely epic. Alright, so this bike has all of the electronics that you could ever want on a bike. It has 3 rider modes, road, sport, and track, that change the throttle response and how much horsepower you have available to you. It has the ABS, 3 modes of that, and then off. Traction control, 8 modes of traction control, and then off. Wheelie control, launch control, rear wheel lift control. It has everything. This bike has all the electronics that you would see on something that costs $3,000, maybe $4,000 more, packed into this insane value. Okay, so that's number 4. Number 5 is the sheer power. Number 5 is like 5 through 25 of the top 25 things I love about this bike. There is so much power. Okay, I've never owned a liter bike before, and up until buying this, I had never ridden a liter bike before. Is that dumb? Probably. But it's what I did. And this bike has more power than I will ever need in my entire life. It has a ludicrous amount of horsepower and a ludicrous amount of torque. The V4 is extraordinarily torquey, and at the wheel, it put out 150 horsepower. But yeah, this bike, it has more power than I will ever experience in any of the cars that I could possibly afford in my lifetime. I can assure you of that. This bike is ludicrous. And that really rounds up the top 5 things that I absolutely love about the bike. That being said, there are about 100 more things that I really like about the bike. I mean, the suspension is fantastic. The Brembos are amazing. They're very nice. They have a great bite to them. I don't feel like I lose any braking power throughout the position of the brake lever. It's a very well set up bike. While we're stopped here at this light, let's start the 5 things that I hate about the bike, and in a very appropriate manner. You see this? You see this thing right there? I have seen this light more than anything on this bike. That is the fuel light, guys. The fuel light comes on very frequently on Aprilia Tuonos. That being said, I do have the GPR Thunder Slash on the bike, and I don't have the race ECU, so yes, the fueling is a little bit off, but still, it was like this to an extent before I got the exhaust. It will be like this after I get the race ECU. So let's see what my average was for this tank. 29.7. That is actually incredibly good. So I was riding it very well, like a good little boy. That guy was nice, he let me go. But yeah, so what I just did there probably cost me like 1.5 miles of fuel. The fueling is, or the mileage is terrible on these things, it really is. In terms of fueling, that would be the number 2 thing I dislike about this bike, and it's sort of not fair because I haven't gotten the race ECU, but I am speaking to what the bike was like prior to the GPR Thunder Slash exhaust. The fueling on the Tuono is a little rough, to say the least. When you're down low, it can be a very strange experience. It bogs down in weird places, and it just doesn't, it's not smooth. And if I show you guys the dyno chart, then you'll see what the fuel curve looks like, and it is very wonky. I have heard that getting the race ECU really improves this. A lot of people have gotten the race ECU without an exhaust and it improves it. So one day I will get a new ECU for it, or I'll get the like a power commander or something, and I'll sort out the fueling. But out of the box, it has been an issue for me, especially since I used to commute on this bike a lot. The number 3 thing that I hate about this bike has got to be the ergos. You know, I get a lot of questions every single day about whether or not people should buy an S1000 single R or a Tuono V4R. Now, the new 1100 has changed its ergos quite a bit. It was a much more comfortable bike. The dimensions are different. The seat, the quality of kind of what makes a bike ergonomically more comfortable have changed, and it's just an all-around better comfort bike. You know, it's an all-around better bike, period, but it's also just more comfortable. The S1000 single R, however, still beats the Tuono in comfort, hands down. I've ridden one a couple times, and just from everything, you know, the position of the bars, the seat, you know, the fact that you get cruise control, everything about it is more comfortable. The DDS, you throw it into soft suspension, and you can cruise with that thing for hours. On this bike, if I rode for 4.5 hours or something, I would need an ass transplant. I could do it. I would like to do it without having to buy anything else like a new seat, which is probably what would make it a lot better. So yeah, guys, the ergos on this bike are just no bueno, especially in comparison to some of its competitors, and there's just some weird bits about it, you know, like the tank, for instance, has this crease right here that if you're sitting and your hip hits it, it becomes this pinch pain point throughout your entire ride. So very strange. You know, the seat, the handlebars, it's just not as comfortable as I wish it would be. Number 4 thing that I dislike about this bike is the value meal parts. The value meal parts on this are you probably wondering, all right, Duke, what are value meal parts? Well, this bike is very value friendly, right? It comes in a lot lower than its competitors, but after owning it for about a year, or over a year now, I can definitely tell where Aprilia cut corners and where they were able to save the consumer some money. Yes, it's kind of a good thing, but it's also a bit of a bad thing considering I'm already noticing parts failing after only a year of ownership. And those parts, in a big part, are the cooling system. The tubes and the clamps that Aprilia used for this cooling system are straight out of a Lego box. They are terrible. In fact, I took it to my local dealership, and I think that kind of stuff is under warranty, so they're going to fix it for free. But the problem is just going to persist again and again until I finally cough up the money to get some like aftermarket hosing in there. And the 5th and final thing that I hate about this bike, probably the biggest issue I have had with it thus far, is the heat. The heat from the frame is absolutely unbearable in the summer. It really is. A lot of people think heat, they think Panigale, and that's probably because they've never been on a Tuono, but holy shit. Okay, so the exposed frame here is pretty, right? It's very nice, but it acts as a heat sink for the engine. So when the engine gets up to about 215 degrees Fahrenheit, that frame starts creeping up to that exact same number, and your legs are pretty snug against that frame. So sitting in traffic in the middle of the summer when the bike is really heating up, I can feel 100% of the engine temperature in my thighs, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably hairless in here because of it. So if you're looking to wax your legs, go look no further. Just go buy a $12,000 Tuono. That's your solution right there. But yeah, you know what, guys? This is an interesting exercise for me to do because I really did have to sit down and figure out the things that I hated about the bike, and it took me all of like 20 seconds to come up with 5 things that I loved about the bike. And after that, I was debating whether or not I should be like, oh, well, the suspension's amazing, should I put that up there instead of the value, or the Brembos instead of such and such. And at the end of the day, there are always going to be more things that I love about this bike than things that I hate about it. I love Thundercat, I love my Aprilia Tuono. I think that it's a fantastic, versatile machine, and that if you're in the market for a great super naked bike, then this might be the one for you. But you know, when people ask me which one would I choose because they're looking to buy one, it's a tough decision. Like, I'm not going to be able to make that choice for you. So my advice is go take one for a test ride. Whichever one feels best, that is the one that's going to work best for you. So I hope this video was entertaining. It has been 1 year with the Tuono. I can't believe it. That also marks essentially 1 year of me consistently motovlogging. I think my first motovlogs were in like March of 2015, but I was only doing like one a month, and then I started uploading more consistently when I got the Tuono. If you guys enjoyed this, please slap a like on it and also share the video. I'm going to be posting these videos on Facebook, so go to the facebook.com/DukeOfDC and share these videos with your friends because it really helps me out. It lets us grow the channel. If you're new, please subscribe, and as always, I will see you on the next one. Oh, I can't peace because I'm in gear. Are we in neutral? Are we in neutral? We're in neutral. Peace! I had to squeeze that entire outro in before I came to a stop. That wasn't easy, guys. Now, I'm mad.